All right, so this will be in the second discussion session of NBME style question and answer. And this session is getting recorded, although I thought that I would uh, live stream this session on Facebook, but somehow the live stream feature is not working right now. So I thought, let's record this and I will upload the session on YouTube and we'll share the link later on my Facebook page. All right. So again, same thing that there will be, today I will just discuss one question and then you will answer the question and then I will discuss about the question, right? And I will give you like around 1.5 minutes, that is 90 seconds to answer the question. And you choose the right answer and then we will proceed with the discussion, all right? So here goes your question. All right, so just type in your answer in the chat box and oh, so there's some discrepancy in the answer choices, right? Because it's A, next one is also A, then there is B, C, D, so it should be A, B, C, D, E, right? The last one should be E. So if you are choosing E and writing D, I guess that you wanted to choose E, but as there is no E, you chose D, right? Okay, all right, cool. So I got some answers, and any more answer am I expecting? Like I got few answers. Anyone else want to answer? All right, cool. So let's start the discussion. So what they said here, that again the same thing, that we go for the last line first and then go for the question, the main deal, the real question vignette, and then go for the answer again, right? So why we do this? Because the last line basically contains the question they intend to ask, right? And in the vignette, they somehow try to confuse you by putting in some information that might derail your thought, right? So that's why I go for the last line first. So it says, which of the following is the normal counterpart of this malignant lymphocyte? All right, so they're asking about something that is described in the vignette. So in this case, you need to go over the vignette, right? And you need to go over the vignette anyway, so that doesn't matter. But always remember, read the last line first so that you don't get derailed. So what it said, a 12-year-old boy is scheduled to receive chemotherapy for leukemia that has the histologic features of malignant lymphocytes. Right, so 12-year-old boy with chemotherapy for leukemia. And why? Because he got some histologic histology report that says there is some malignant lymphocyte, right? This neoplasm is further typed for cell surface and intracellular markers specific for lymphocyte subsets. So the scientist or the lab wants to see what type of lymphocyte is that. We know that there are different types of lymphocyte, right? In the broad base or broad heading, we can say there are two lymphocytes. One is T lymphocyte, one is B lymphocyte. but there are multiple subtypes based on their cell surface marker, based on their what they're producing, what type of interleukin they're secreting, what type of internal structural marker they have. There are several subtypes of these lymphocytes, right? So they want to specifically know what type of lymphocyte is this in this kid's malignant neoplasm. The neoplastic cells do not express the following markers. So when they did this surface marking study, they found that those neoplastic cells, they do not have these markers. So when they give you these choices, like what these cells do not have, you need to think about what these cells might have, right? So it's like negative choice, right? So they're telling about something that is not there. So you need to know, and that actually will test your knowledge base, that you know that what this cell might have. And as these cells don't have this, so probably this cell is not like that particular type of cell, right? Am I clear? All right, so the neoplastic cells do not express the following markers like CD4, CD8, surface immunoglobulin M, surface immunoglobulin G, cytoplasmic, right? Why cytoplasmic? Because remember, they're typing this cell for intracellular markers also. So not only they're looking over the cell surface, let's say this is the cell, all right? They are not looking at the cell surface markers. At the same time, sorry, they're not looking at the cell surface marker, they also looking inside the cell. They're also looking inside the cell. So it's like the neoplastic cell, they are uh, looking for the markers on the surface, also inside, because they want to be sure what in this cell type is, all right? And what they're saying, that this cell surface, this cell doesn't have cytoplasmic immunoglobulin M and mu heavy chain. Mu heavy chain, that means the usually this heavy chain and light chain thing, it is related to what? The antibodies, right? The antibodies that we get from the B lymphocytes, right? B lymphocytes, of course, many of you know that B lymphocytes produce these antibodies. So these B lymphocytes are, they contain this gene for those heavy chain, right? So when these scientists were looking inside the cell and looking for some genes that might be present inside the cell, they didn't find any that is similar to those B lymphocyte, those lymphocyte which are producing the antibodies, and the antibodies got the heavy chain and light chain. So when they search for if there is any gene for heavy chain or light chain, they didn't get it, right? Cytoplasmic immunoglobulin G, again, inside the cytoplasm, there is no immunoglobulin G and gamma heavy chain, all right? So two types of heavy chain they were looking for. So basically, from this line, you will understand that this cell, they don't have CD4 marker, CD8 marker on the surface. They don't have surface immunoglobulin M, don't have surface immunoglobulin G, don't have inside the cell any cytoplasmic immunoglobulin M, nothing, no genes that could code for this heavy chains of the antibodies, no inside cytoplasmic immunoglobulin G. So what you think now? You think that this cell, most clearly this is not a B lymphocyte, right? Because if it was a B lymphocyte, there should be some surface markers. At the same time, there should be not the surface marker, let's say the antibody genes should be there. Even let's say if this B lymphocyte was a nascent B lymphocyte or not yet activated B lymphocyte, it would have some antibodies or antibody genes inside it, right? But there is nothing. So you're very sure this is not a B lymphocyte. But at the same time, you see that this cell doesn't express CD4 or CD8 T's, that those markers are for T lymphocyte, right? CD4 is marker for helper T cell. I hope many of you know that. And CD8 is the marker of cytotoxic T cell, right? Two types of T cell, as I said earlier, that broad-based. There are different types of lymphocyte T cell and B cell, and they have multiple subtypes. The CD4 is the marker for helper T cell, and CD8 is the marker of cytotoxic T cell. And this cell surface doesn't have those also. So you know that this is not a helper T cell, this is not a cytotoxic T cell, all right? But you are very sure that it is not a B lymphocyte. So as in the broad sense, this is not a B lymphocyte. It is a T lymphocyte, all right? But it doesn't have CD4 or CD8. So you need to find out, probably it's a T lymphocyte of some modalities that is not yet a particular type of T lymphocyte. That means it is not yet ready. A perfect T lymphocyte. It is not yet a helper T lymphocyte. It is not yet a cytotoxic T lymphocyte. What is that? You need to find out now. Just from this line, you know this information that this is not a B lymphocyte, that's for sure, but it's a T lymphocyte. Now you need to know what type of T lymphocyte it might be. All right, so next line, the leukemic cell express class 1 MHC molecule, that's most of the cell of our body express, and show rearrangement of the T lymphocyte receptor beta chain gene D and J segments. And you are now very sure that this is a T lymphocyte, because only T lymphocyte has T lymphocyte receptors, right? So this cell, which doesn't have any sign of it to be a B lymphocyte, but there are signs of it to be a T lymphocyte. And one of the signs is this one, that it has this T lymphocyte receptor. And it has this T lymphocyte. They didn't give this information to you like directly. They're saying that inside the cell, there's some gene for T lymphocyte, and on those gene, not T lymphocyte receptor genes, and there are some rearrangements. So by reading this clue, you know that they're discussing about the T lymphocyte receptors, and which cell got T lymphocyte receptor. That's basically not a rocket science. You all know that it's the T lymphocyte, right? Now, the last line, it says, which of the following is a normal counterpart of this malignant lymphocytes? All right, so these are the malignant lymphocytes, and you are sure that this is a T lymphocyte. Now, you need to find which normal cell in a normal body or normal person who doesn't have any malignant lymphocyte resembles this cell, right? So just now think, all right, so this is a T lymphocyte, and the T lymphocyte that doesn't have any CD4 marker, that doesn't have any CD8 marker, where we get this type of T lymphocyte, right? And when you think about it, you know that the T lymphocyte origin. T lymphocyte is getting originated in the bone marrow, right? From the hematopoietic stem cell, from the lymphoid progenitor cell, you get the T lymphocytes. Those T lymphocytes, when they're produced, they are not any helper T cell, they are not any cytotoxic T cell, they are not regulatory T cell, they're nothing. They're just T lymphocyte, nascent T lymphocyte. They need to be modified to become CD4 or CD8 or CD17 or whatever CD T cell, right? And this process is usually done in an organ that gets kind of remnant in our adult body, that is the thymus, right? In the thymus, this T lymphocyte, they go through the thymus, they get educated, right? They know, they learn what to pick, they learn what to become, they learn whether they will be a helper T cell, whether they will be a cytotoxic T cell. This thymic education makes the T cell subtypes specific, right? Now, this thymic education thing modifies this nascent T lymphocytes into CD4 or CD8 and something, right? So if you know this information, that a T cell becomes a particular type of T cell after they're educated in the thymus. Before thymus, they are nothing. They're just T cell, and they don't have CD4 or CD8 marker. So probably these malignant lymphocytes are from that type of lymphocytes. That means the lymphocytes are not yet educated, right? Now let's go over the answers, and you'll find options, you'll find the answer. Number A, it says activated cytolytic effector T lymphocyte in the circulation. This reminds you of the CD8 T cells, cytolytic. We are not really accustomed to cytolytic. The word cytolytic, we usually say it's cytotoxic, but these are the same, right? So cytotoxic T cell has, cytotoxic T cell has what? It has the CD8 marker. right? So now, but our malignant lymphocyte in the description, it says the cell doesn't have any CD4 or CD8 marker. So it should not be option A, because if it was option A, this malignant neoplasm should have CD8 marker, but it says it doesn't have that marker. So you can cross out, or you can just, what is that, strike out the option A. By the way, when you are doing the questions in eWorld, or when you are doing the questions in your Real Deal or NBMEs, you can use the action that is called strikeout, right? That can help you choose your answer. Sometimes it happens that you don't know which one is the answer. You need to exclude the answer from the choices, right? There are, let's say, 5 choices. You know there should be a best answer, but to reach that best answer, what do you need to do? You need to strike out the less choiceable answer, right? So that is called exclusion, or choice by exclusion, right? So to do that, you can use a strike out option. All you need to do just to click on the line. Let's say here, this is a drawing pad. I cannot do it here, but in your UWorld or in your NBME, you can do it. The option you need to strike out, just click on the line. When you click on the line, this option will be striked out. All right, so it will happen, then it will be easier for you to choose the right answer. Next thing is the B. It says the mature, it should be B, but I like mistakenly it became A. It says mature immunoglobulin M secreting B lymphocytes in the lymph node. Of course, this is not a B lymphocyte, right? Whenever you're reading the question in the vignette, you saw that this B lymphocyte should have immunoglobulin, the B, you know that B lymphocyte should have immunoglobulin M gene or G gene, right? Or surface immunoglobulin M. That's what makes the B lymphocyte a B lymphocyte. But this cell, this malignant cell, doesn't have those markers to be a B lymphocyte. So it's not a B lymphocyte, that for sure. So you can strike out this option also. All right. Option, this should be C, but as again by mistake it became B. It says mature immunoglobulin secreting plasma cells in the lymph node. Come on, this is not a plasma cell. Plasma cells are from the B lymphocyte, right? The B lymphocyte, when they're activated, they form the plasma cell, and those cells, which we call the plasma cell, they can secrete the antibodies, right? So this line is also going to be striked out. All right. C, or you can say D, pre-B lymphocyte progenitor of mature B lymphocyte in the bone marrow. Nothing with the B lymphocyte. This is not a B lymphocyte for sure. That left you with this answer that you can pick, that it says T lymphocyte thymocytes localized to thymic cortex. All right. So you can choose this answer by excluding the other option, or if you know it already, that this T lymphocyte, while they're passing through the thymus, or let's say before they started crossing the thymus, right? The thymus is an organ. It has this thymic capsule, then there is thymic cortex, then the medulla, and then eventually they come into the circulation that brings those T lymphocytes to the lymph nodes and whatever place they needed to be, right? But when these T lymphocytes are yet not passing, or yet not very deep inside the thymus, you can say they're still not educated, right? So when we go to educational institution, we need to go inside, we need to go deep, right? Let's say you went to your med school. If you like, if you're standing in the gate of the med school and you think that, okay, I'm in the med school, I'm at the gate of the med school and I'm going to be a doctor. It's not going to be happen, right? That's very obvious. You need to go inside, you need to take the class, and you need to learn things inside the med school. Then when you come out after 5 years or 4 years of your med school studies, then you are a educated doctor, right? But now, same thing happens here. This T lymphocyte, it's just in the thymic cortex. It's not yet inside the medulla. It's not yet even passing through the cortex. It's just in the cortex. It's just in the beginning of the education. it's not educated yet. So this T lymphocyte will not have the necessary surface marker that would delineate it from different subtypes of T lymphocyte. When it passes through the cortex, when it passes through the medulla, then there is multiple modification that happens there. I hope probably all of you know about the positive and negative selections and this thing, and then eventually it become the educated T lymphocyte. All right, so your option would be, in case of here, D, or you can say E, T lymphocyte thymocytes localized to the thymic cortex. So by the way, those of you who joined later, there's some discrepancies in the number. I wrote mistakenly A and then again A. So I didn't wrote B here. So there is this options discrepancies. So if you're choosing D from my mistaken options, then you were right, right? Okay, so today, just one question discussion. We will discuss more question from tomorrow, hopefully. And I thought that I would live stream this session from my Facebook page, but I couldn't set up the live stream. Somehow the software is not working properly, so I couldn't do it. So what I'll do, I'll just upload this session on my YouTube channel, and then I will share the link on the Facebook page so that anyone who wanted to join in, they could watch this session. All right, so we will discuss more questions. Just one question for today. Sorry for that. One more questions from tomorrow, hopefully, and hope to see you soon again tomorrow. All right, so thank you very much everyone for joining the discussion. See you again tomorrow for USMLE Daily NBME style Q&A discussions. Goodbye. Have a nice day.